If you truly want your husband to love you, go and bring me a lion's whisker for a sacrifice.
Mama, but that's a certain death. How can I face a living lion?
You must do this.
Once upon a time, there was a young woman. Let's call her Amaka. She lived in a bustling city where everything moved fast. The traffic, the hustle, people chasing dreams, and even their tempers. Amaka had married a man she loved deeply. His name was Pius. At first, their home was filled with laughter, late-night gist, and plans for the future. They would stay awake, eating suya by the balcony, talking about the children they would one day raise, the trips they would take, and how they would build a life better than what they had known growing up. But life has a way of testing love. The joy of the early days soon gave way to quarrels. Little misunderstandings grew into big fights. Silence replaced laughter. Sometimes Amaka would sit on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, asking herself, is this the man I married? Has love finished between us? She tried everything, cooking his favorite meals, praying late into the night, even seeking advice from friends. But nothing seemed to soften Pius's heart. He had grown distant, frustrated with work, impatient at home, and quick to snap at every little thing. And Amaka, she was tired. Have you ever been in a place where you feel invisible in your own home? Where you want peace so badly, but it feels like peace has packed its bags and left? That was where Amaka found herself. One day, after another heated argument, Amaka couldn't hold back her tears, sobbed softly. She left the house, wandering aimlessly, until she found herself in front of an elderly woman's shop. This woman, Mama Tijani, was known in the community for her wisdom. Not a herbalist, not a prophetess, but the kind of woman who had seen life in all its colors, who listened more than she spoke, and whose words always carried weight. When Mama saw Amaka, she smiled gently. My daughter, why do you look like your heart is carrying a heavy load? And just like a child seeking comfort, Amaka poured out her pain. She spoke of her broken home, her distant husband, and her fear that love was slipping away. When she was done, Mama Tijani was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, My daughter, if you truly want peace in your home, you must bring me a lion's whisker. Amaka froze. A lion's whisker, Mama? How can I face a lion? That's certain death. Mama simply smiled. You say you love your husband and you want healing. If you truly desire it, then you must prove it with patience and courage. Go and bring me the lion's whisker. Amaka left, confused. A lion's whisker? How is that even possible? The next morning, she thought about Mama's words. Deep down, she knew the woman wasn't ordinary. Maybe this was a test. So she began her journey. Not far from her home was a game reserve. That's where the lions were kept. Every day after work, Amaka would go to the edge of the reserve and watch from a safe distance. At first, her heart pounded each time the lions roared, but slowly, she began studying them, noticing their patterns, when they ate, when they rested, when they were calm. Day after day, she drew closer. First, She stood at the farthest fence, then a little closer, and soon she began leaving pieces of meat at the edge. At first, the lions ignored it, but after a while, they began to notice. Weeks passed, months even. Every day she went, patient, consistent, waiting. The lions grew used to her presence. They no longer roared when she approached. And then, one evening, with trembling hands but steady heart, she reached out while one of the lions was eating and plucked a single whisker. She couldn't believe it. She had done the impossible. With joy and relief, Amaka ran back to Mama Tijani and placed the whisker in her hand. "Mama, I did it. Here is the whisker." The old woman took it, looked at it carefully, then smiled and tossed it into the fire. A shocked gasp. Amaka cried out, "Mama, why did you burn it? Do you know what I went through to get that?" Mama Tijani looked into her eyes and said, "My daughter, the lion's whisker was never the cure. It was the lesson. You see, the same patience, consistency, and gentle spirit you use to tame a beast, that is what you need to heal your marriage. If patience can win the heart of a beast, it can also melt the heart of a man." Amaka stood frozen. Tears filled her eyes. At that moment, she understood. She realized she had been expecting change too quickly. She wanted her husband's heart to soften overnight. But real change takes time. Real love requires patience. One evening, as she served dinner, Pius looked at her quietly. "Amaka, thank you for not giving up on me." Those words were few, but to her they were everything. Proof that patience was working. My friend, this story isn't just about Amaka and Pius. Real love takes patience. Just like a seed, it needs time to grow. Patience is not weakness, it is strength. And sometimes, the change we want in others begins with us. So I ask you, who is the lion in your life? Remember, the whisker is already inside you. Choose patience, because in the end, patience, not pressure, builds lasting relationships.